Hello and welcome to another video. And today's custom budget PC is built into this classic Antec 900 black PC case. I spent a fair amount of time cleaning this thing up and getting it ready to be repurposed, and every minute was well spent because I really like building into this case. It has the original two blue air intake fans that are 120 millimeters in size. Also the original air exhaust fan. I really kind of miss the look of these LED fans. They kind of give like a static image that looks really cool. And the bone on the bottom was pretty much completely seized up. So I was able to remove the sticker and add some oil to the bearing. And now it's moving great. And the original 200 millimeter air exhaust fan that fits onto the top had a missing fan blade. So I actually pulled this one out of a Cooler Master high airflow PC case and had to zip tie it to the top, but it's working quite well, as you'll see later on in the video. I was actually expecting it to be red, but it turned out to be blue, and that's awesome because that matches the other case fans. And now on to what's installed inside. Underneath this Thermalright Assassin Spirit V2 CPU cooler, there's a Ryzen 5 5500 CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads. Right beside that is 16 gigabytes of Timetec branded DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, going for a little more budget with no fancy heat sinks. This is a pretty nice looking ASUS ROG STRIX RTX 3050 graphics card with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. This is my first time testing out an RTX 3050, and I'm actually really impressed with how it performs with this CPU. I originally thought this version of the card is almost overkill for this GPU, but I have to say it looks really nice, it fits the style of the case pretty well, and adds some extra flair and great cooling. One benefit is that it doesn't require a huge amount of power, so I have an EVGA 500 watt power supply installed, and this is all built onto an AsRock B550M-HDV motherboard with PCIe 4.0 speeds. Right underneath the graphics card there's Windows 11 installed onto a Timetec NVMe solid state drive with PCIe 3.0 x 4 speeds. And you can just see that I installed a used Hitachi 500GB hard drive for extra storage space. Of course, an older PC case like this doesn't offer too much for hiding the cables, so I just managed to bundle them up nicely and make sure that the case fans are not encumbered by their existence. On the top I/O of the PC case, we have 2x USB 2.0 microphone and headphone jacks, the power button right here, and there's a FireWire port that I don't have plugged into the motherboard because I added this extra little expansion bay that I had lying around, so whoever purchases this PC can have an extra USB 2.0 and an SD card reader, as well as multiple other formats if they still use them. On top of the case has this nice little holding area. I guess you can put stuff in. I'm happy to report that the plastic side panel is not too scratched up and it actually looks still pretty good. And this metal mesh right here adds some nice passive air cooling. Onto the rear I/O of the motherboard, there's a mouse and keyboard PS2 port, 2x USB 2.0, an arrangement of display ports that you can't use with this 3600X CPU, because there's no integrated graphics, 4x USB 3.2 RJ45 Ethernet port, and some more audio jacks. And what's really cool about this version of the ASUS RTX 3050 is that there's 2x HDMI 2.1 ports and 3x DisplayPort 1.4a. I bet this version of the card wasn't cheap. I was able to get this for a really good deal, and otherwise if I did buy a 3050 it would probably be a cheaper version of the card. Although it did perform really well, I don't think I would invest too much money in it in 2024. And the usual 11 minutes of raw 1080p footage is loaded up in DaVinci Resolve 19. So let's see how long it takes to render. 99 to 100% CPU usage, and we're actually reaching some pretty high clock speeds. Completed in 3 minutes and 12 seconds, not too bad. Now we have 11 minutes of gameplay footage loaded up into Handbrake, and I will select Creator 1080p 60 for YouTube, and let's see how long this one takes. And again, we're reaching some pretty good speeds. And it looks like this one's completing in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. If you enjoyed the short trip down memory lane for the repurposing of this older PC case, I would call this CPU and GPU combo a solid budget for 2024. Just make sure you're not paying too much for it. My overall price for this is around 615 Canadian dollars, and I think that's not too bad for a complete PC. So thanks a lot for checking out my video. Now let's check out the gameplay performance.